money clicking past, ain't feeling his hymn. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 turn to 100 someday. Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay? lighting up to my bed. Every day's a brand new episode on the Purpose Show.
What up, 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 what up? What up, Twitch? What up, PETA? What up, Rural? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy. What up, Cosmic? We just started. You're fine. What up, Breed? Before we get started with the relevant news, non-relevant news. Today in We Are Cartoonishly Evil, EPA plans to reconsider a ban on cancer-causing asbestos. Asbestos. Yeah. I don't even know what to do with that. Like, who knew the administration was going to join the war on cancer on the side of cancer? This is like, it's silly pants. It's silly pants. I don't. I don't. I just don't. I can't. I'm unable to can't. Nothing makes sense. So let's talk about AI. But before we get to the AI itself, let's talk about power grids real quick. So recently there was a massive blackout in Spain due to what up, Doc? Due to like the collapse of their power grid, right? And immediately a response from certain parties was this is the downside of overcommitting to green energy, right? With the use of wind and solar, etc., etc. It was a bad idea, and so on and so forth, right? Well, we got a report, and it turns out, yanks off the mask like Scooby Doo. The real culprit begins with a C. Miscalculation by Spanish power grid operator REE led to massive blackout, report finds. Spain's power grid operator REE miscalculated its power capacity needs on the day that a surge in voltage caused a massive blackout across the Iberian Peninsula in April. A government investigation has concluded. REE did not have enough thermal power stations switched on during peak hours of April 28th when the surge caused a chain reaction leading to the power outage. The system did not have sufficient dynamic voltage control capacity. Now, this is the thermal power stations are power stations that use turbines, right? Your coal, your oil, your geothermal, anything like that. Anything that generates heat to generate steam to turn a turbine, right? So this is in line with that previous statement, right? That an overcommitment to wind and solar is what led to the blackout. But wait, there's more. The system did not have sufficient dynamic voltage control capacity. REE told us that they made their calculations and estimated that switching on more thermal plants was not necessary at this time. They only set it for the early hours of the day, not the central hours. The blackout that lasted for several hours caused massive gridlock in cities, etc., etc. Power plants should have controlled voltage, and moreover, many of them were economically remunerated to do so. But rather than spend the money on generating power as they were obligated to do, every time you yank the mask off, and it's capitalism. It's capitalism. Sure, I mean, grid scale batteries would have been great, but the point, Cosmic, is that people were paid to do a job, or I'm sorry, not people. Companies were paid to do a job and chose not to do it. Awesome. Lovely. Next up, from the AI is not good enough to take your job file, BT boss Kirkby expects AI to deepen job cuts, Financial Times reports. Chief Executive Allison Kirby says advances in artificial intelligence could deepen significant job cuts underway at the British telecoms company, the Financial Times reported on Sunday. Kirkby told the newspaper that BT's plans to cull more than 40,000 jobs and strip out £3 billion of costs by the end of the decade did not reflect the full potential of AI. Depending on what we learn from AI, there may be an opportunity for BT to be even smaller by the end of the decade. Britain's biggest broadband and mobile provider had said in 2023 that it would cut as many as 55,000 jobs, including contractors, by 2030. Its CEO at the time, Philip Jansen, said the company would rely on a much smaller workforce and significantly reduce cost base by the end of the 2020s. Kirkby, who took over from Jansen a year ago, has also opened the door to a possible future spin-off of Openreach, the company's network infrastructure business. More privatization. I'm sure that will go well. She said she did not feel the value of Openreach was reflected in the company's share price, and that if it persisted, BT would I'm sorry. This is not privatization. This is just a company spinning off another company. Sorry, I misunderstood your British telecom. So yeah, definitely looking to use AI to cut jobs. I'm sure everything will be fine. I'm sure the AI will remain incompetent, and you have nothing to worry about. We got a couple futurisms and a register article today. They are huge fans of AI, right? Even more so than me. They love AI. I'm always shocked by the people that call modern AI systems worthless or useless. I'm not. Doc. I'm just not. And the reason I'm not is because confirmation bias, first off, right? Like confirmation bias, you don't want it to be true, right? There's a lot of people who don't want it to be true. What up, Michael? And the confirmation bias leads any article, like some of the articles that we've covered, validates that opinion. What up, joint specialist? The internet is just a fad, right? What is it, Robert Reich? Right? Something like that. No, not Robert Reich then. I slandered Robert Reich. What up, anti-war machine? James Chapman, on the other hand, absolutely. Because millions of people gave up on it. And this is 2000? 2009. I can't tell. Oh, is it the Daily Mail? It is the Daily Mail. Posting L's since at least the year 2000. Paul Krugman. I confused Paul Krugman and Robert Reich. Daily Mail posting L's since at least 2000. 25 years of not having any idea what the fuck they're talking about. Researchers found that millions were turning their back on the World Wide Web, frustrated by its limitations and unwilling to pay high access charges. They say that email, far from replacing other forms of communication, is adding to an overload of information. Experts from the Virtual Society Project, which published the report, say predictions that the internet would revolutionize the way society works have proved wildly inaccurate. Many teenagers are using the internet less now than previously, they conclude, and the future of online shopping is limited. Steve Woodgear, director of the society, said, "We are often presented with a picture of burgeoning internet use, but there is evidence already of drop off and saturation among users. Teenager use of the internet has declined. They were energized by what you can do on the net, but they have been through all that and then realized there's more to life in the real world and gone back to it." They went they touched the internet and then decided to touch grass. What up, old lobster? Oh, Jesus. I would say that Krugman probably acknowledged it, like, my bad. Oh. It's estimated that in Britain alone, there could be more than 2 million people who regularly used the internet but had now given up. Apropos of nothing, ChatGPT has already polluted the internet so badly that it's hobbling future AI development. The internet has been ruined again for the umpteenth time. Cleaning is going to. Hey, thank you. Did Pullman Krug say the internet's effect on the world economy will be no greater than the fax machine? True. Who logs into Snopes? Prediction is wildly inaccurate in either form. Obviously, internet growth has done nothing but boom since the late 1990s. In an email to Business Insider in 2013, Krugman said it was part of a piece he contributed to the New York Times Magazine in 1998. It was a thing for the Times Magazine 100th anniversary, written as if by someone looking back from 2098. So the point was to be fun. Oh, no. He didn't. You punk. So the point was to be fun and provocative, not to engage in careful forecasting. I mean, there are lines in there about St. Petersburg having more skyscrapers than New York, which was not a prediction, just a thought provoker. Shut up. Yeah, this. Smart people love to make smart sounding predictions, no matter how wrong they may turn out to be. The phenomenon was beautifully captured in a 1998 article for Red Herring magazine, Why Most Economist Predictions Are Wrong. It was written by Paul Krugman, himself an economist, who went on to win the Nobel Prize. Krugman points out that too many economist predictions fail because they overestimate the impact of future technologies, and then he makes a few predictions of its own. The growth of the internet will slow drastically as the flaw in Metcalfe's law, which states that the number of potential connections in a network is proportional to the square of the number of participants, becomes apparent. Most people have nothing to say to each other. Oh, my sweet summer child. The fact that most people have nothing to say to each other did not prevent people from saying it on the internet. By 2005 or so, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machine. I must have tossed it off quickly. At the time, I was mainly focused on the Asian financial crisis, then later conflated in my memory with the New York Times piece. Anyway, I was clearly trying to be provocative and got it wrong, which happens to all of us sometimes. Right? And so at least he says that he got it wrong, even if he's trying to mitigate his culpability. Just own it, dude. Just own it, man. God. Anyways, cleaning is going to be prohibitively expensive, probably impossible. The rapid rise of ChatGPT and the cavalcade, an absolute cavalcade of competitors' generative models that follow suit, has polluted the internet with so much useless slop that it's already kneecapping the development of future AI models. As the AI generated data clouds the human creations that these models are so heavily dependent on amalgamating, I do love a good use of the word amalgamating, right? Like, I will give it that. It becomes inevitable that a greater share of what these so called intelligences learn from and imitate is itself an ersatz AI creation. Repeat this process enough, and the AI development begins to resemble a maximalist game of telephone in which not only is the quality of the content being produced diminished, resembling less and less what it's originally supposed to be replacing, but in which the participants actively become stupider. Oh no, what is this? Oh. The industry likes to describe this scenario as AI model collapse. As a consequence, the finite amount of data predating ChatGPT's rise becomes extremely valuable. In a new feature, the register likens this to the demand for low background steel. This is fascinating. or steel that was produced before the detonation of the first nuclear bombs starting in July of 1945 with the US's Trinity test. Just as the explosion of AI chatbots has irreversibly polluted the internet, so did the detonation of the atomic bomb release radionuclides, and other particulates that have seeped into virtually all steel produced after. That makes modern metals unsuitable for use in some highly sensitive scientific and medical equipment. So it's a direct one-to-one comparison, right? Like you have AI that is used by, potentially everyone, everywhere. And that's the same thing as metals used in highly sensitive scientific and medical equipment. It's genius. It's a great metaphor. I love a good metaphor, and this is one of the metaphors. And so, what's old is new. A major source of low background steel, even today, is World War I and World War II era battleships, including a huge naval fleet that was scuttled by German Admiral Ludwig von Reuter in 1919. History is fun, kids. Did you know that low background steel isn't needed anymore as new steel is reduced to near pre-World War II levels? There are some specific applications, but largely not needed anymore. I did not know that. I didn't even know low background steel was a thing. I've never heard anyone complain about it even once. Maurice Chiodo, a research associate at the Center for the Study of Existential Risk at the University of Cambridge, called the Admiral's actions the greatest contribution to nuclear medicine in the world. That enabled us to have this almost infinite supply of low background steel. If it weren't for that, we'd be kind of stuck. So the analogy works here because you need something that happened before a certain date. That's even makes it even more hilarious, old lobster. But if you're collecting data before 2022, you're fairly confident that it has minimal, if any, contamination from generative AI. Everything before the date is safe, fine, clean. Everything after that is dirty. Oh, the AI touched the internet and made it dirty. Prior to that, everything was fine. In 2024, Chiodo co-authored a paper arguing that there needs to be a source of clean data, not only to stave off model collapse. What up, Minute? But to ensure fair competition between AI developers. Great. Compensate people for the generation of data, and I'm sure they would be happy to produce data until the cows come home. Otherwise, the early pioneers of the tech, after ruining the internet for everyone else with their AI refuse, would boast a massive advantage by being the only ones that benefited from a purer source of training data. This is also like silly on its face, right? Because all the data that exists pre 2022 still exists, right? So everyone else can still use that data, right? Like this is actually part of the problem. This is why piracy comes into the conversation, right? This is why copyright infringement comes into the conversation, is because there are groups on the internet that have collected stuff, right? And not just data brokers, right? Data brokers do hold the keys to some stuff, but there's a lot of data that's just that they collected, right? Through piracy and their own labors. Like some of the groups are like Project Gutenberg, where they're scanning physical books in order to get them into the thing. That all exists. That will continue to exist, right? Because some dude somewhere has a fucking shelf that has various computers and hard drives and etc. filled with data, right? Some dude has CD cases full of DVDs with data that they pulled down off the internet back before all of this was a thing. Whether model collapse, particularly as a result of contaminated data, is an imminent threat is a matter of some debate. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Which is why it's fascinating that if there's some debate, to make a headline claim that ChatGPT has already polluted the internet so badly that it's hobbling future AI development, that would be a claim not supported by the information in the article, right? Because the whole thing is a matter of some debate. Sorry, I lost my spot. Here we go. But many researchers have been sounding the alarm for years now, including Chiodo. And fair enough, right? Like, human created data is definitely has value, right? You could even argue that it is of a higher value than the synthetic data. The problem is a matter of quantity at this point. It's only an issue as long as AIs continue to be built on unvetted data. I don't believe that AIs are built on unvetted data, but you might have more information than I do. Now, it's not clear to what extent model collapse will be a problem. But if it is a problem and we've contaminated this data environment, cleaning is going to be prohibitively expensive, probably impossible. One area where the issue has already reared its head is with the technique called retrieval augmented generation. What up, Ben? Which uses AI models, or which AI models use to supplement their dated training data with information pulled from the internet in real time. That is one way to do it, right? Retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, can also consist of like a corpus of a particular set of PDFs or anything else like that. It's any data source. It doesn't necessarily mean pulling from the internet in real time, but it can. This new data isn't guaranteed to be free of AI tampering, and some research has shown that this results in the chatbots producing far more unsafe responses. What kind of research? I like how all the links are to futurism articles. AI models show signs of falling apart as they ingest more AI generated data. In a new essay for The Register, veteran tech columnist Sean Von Nichols warns that even attempts to head off so called model collapse, which occurs when blah, 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 are another kind of nightmare. So this is great. If it's Futurism and The Register, both of which who are strongly anti-AI, the Futurism is referencing The Register as its source for evidence. Cool. That's great. Love that for you. The dilemma is also reflective of the broader debate around scaling or improving AI models by adding more data and processing power. After OpenAI and other developers reported diminishing returns with their newest models in late 2024, some experts proclaimed that scaling had hit a wall. And if that data is increasingly slop laden, the wall could be that would become that much more impassable. Giotto speculates speculates that stronger regulations like labeling AI content could help clean up this pollution, some of this pollution, but this would be difficult to enforce. In this regard, the AI industry, which has cried foul of any government interference, I mean, they literally came to Congress and told you you needed to regulate the industry, and you didn't regulate the industry. But I'm sure what you're saying is also true. Maybe its own worst enemy. Currently, we are in the first phase of regulation where we are shying away a bit from regulation because we think we have to be innovative. Ruprecht Podson, professor of civil and competition law at Heinrich Heine University Dusseldorf, who co authored the 2024 paper with Giotto, told the Register. And this is very typical for whatever innovation we come up with. So AI is the big thing. Let it go and fine. So is this a sentence or is this AI slop? So AI is the big thing. Let it go and fine. Cool. It's unvetted in the sense that there is no significant curation process to check the data for 100% accuracy. Fair. LLMs are bulk language examples from all sources possible without complete consideration of the biases of merit. I get that. Okay, I see what you're saying. And yes, I would agree. There are, of course, certain phrases or concepts that are avoided, but the technology for filtering out those samples isn't perfect. VO3 was trained on basically all of YouTube without checking to see if the information presented in the videos was factual. Yes. Scaling hit a wall because you need to do more than just parameters big to create smarter models. Yes. The diminishing returns were not related to AI slop. It was like non-cost effective and non-infrastructure effective, right? Like that's the diminishing returns. There are improvements still, but they are less than they had previously been. This is when you saw everybody start putting out their own reasoning models, and then you'll see mixture of experts plus reasoning plus whatever the next way of going about it. So since we're talking about futurism, and futurism is talking about the Register, let's check in with the Register, see how they're doing. AI is not doing its job and should leave us alone, says Gartner's top analyst. Gartner, of the famed Gartner hype cycle, which is not actually predictive and is not generally a good model, and I believe is accurate in 4.5% of cases, was what we found when we looked at it. But hey, we should listen to them. They're smart. Yeah, and we've seen a lot of that using AI to like label the data. And once you can get the AI to label the data, then you should be able to do a better job of vetting the data, both in quality and also in accuracy. The question of whether or not they would want to vet it for accuracy is an open question, of course. AI is not doing its job today and should leave us alone, according to analyst firm Gartner's global chief of AI research, Eric Brethenow. Speaking at the firm's Data and Analytics Summit in Sydney, Australia today, Brethenow said he didn't have time to read the summaries of meetings 2 to 5 years ago before the creation of such documents became a key application of generative AI. I don't have time to do the 5 actions in the summary. I know what I have to do. Bretheno also questioned why AI-generated meeting summaries list action items from a meeting instead of AI just doing the work itself. Just go and do it already, he said, and called for AI to simplify users' lives by automatically performing tiresome tasks. So I'm sorry, I misunderstood. When he says AI is not doing his job and should leave us alone, what he means is AI should just go ahead and start doing stuff and not bother me with permission to do the stuff, which is another wild take on the other end of that whole fucking spectrum. He cited a use case at U.S. healthcare company Vizient, where the CTO asked employees what tasks bother them on a regular basis. The sort of thing everyone dreads having to do when they arrive at work Monday morning. Oh, that would be work on Monday morning. Armed with feedback from feedback from thousands of employees, the company automated the most complained about chores. The result? Instant adoption, zero change management problems, Bretheno said. Employees then bought into AI and started to make good suggestions for further AI enabled automation. Wait, do you mean when you ask employees to participate in how their work is constructed, you get positive feedback that's actually valuable to the mission you're trying to accomplish? Who could have told you that? The analyst labeled this approach empathy AI and cited another example of it at a real estate company that must go through 17 steps to assess whether it will rent a property to a prospective tenant. The company assesses candidates on each of the 17 steps in sequence, so a failure on step 16 would mean that it had wasted time working on the previous 15 steps. The org now uses AI to automate all steps in parallel. Enterprise tech vendors currently advocate for automation using AI agents, bots that can perform some tasks independently, to automate the boring parts of IT ops, or to work as a kind of personal assistant. Bretheno thinks tech buyers must take that vision with a large pinch of salt for two reasons. One is that AI agents are not new. He said industrial companies have used them for decades in relatively closed systems. While they now rely on agents for certain tasks, they have seldom found the software can handle very complex tasks. Yet vendors are suggesting personal AI agents will easily work with many sources of data across an enterprise and do things like automatically decide a worker should attend a meeting, then place that meeting in their Outlook or Google Calendar. I'll one up you. The AI should attend the meeting. The AI can get the meeting notes and the summary, and then the AI can tell the person what the important parts of the meeting are. This meeting could have been an email, predates the rise of the current crop of AI. Just saying. Now you have 50,000 agents running around the enterprise, he posited. How do you orchestrate this? How do they negotiate? Bretheno said he's asked vendors how such automated scheduling would consider competing needs of an employee's boss, partner, or kids. Their response, he said, is silence. No, I gave you a solution. It's super easy. Again, there's a thing called Fathom, right? My friend uses this as the company he works for uses it. This Fathom, they run their Zoom meetings with Fathom there, and then Fathom takes the notes, the action items, the bullet points, and like this. And if anything that's important in the meeting, you can literally click wherever it's talking about the thing, like this quarterly sales performance. If you click that, it'll go to the section of the call in which that event happened. So it's not even a situation, well, there's some nuance, right, that you might miss in the course of, no, because it's got the whole meeting there. It just allows you to skip over all the bullshit. And if you've been in a meeting, you know that a significant amount of bullshit happens. Right? I don't need to hear Bob and Janet joke about, their kids' hockey game and et cetera, et cetera. None of that matters to me. I am here because you require me to be here, and then I want to go back and work on the work that I need to get done in order to satisfy your productivity goals. What up, Schnuffle? And if I don't do that, then I take a hit. So can I get out of this meeting? And the easiest way to do that is to have someone go on your behalf. And in that case, it would be look at this. This is what it does. Right? And that right there, like if you needed to share a particular section of the meeting, boom. It's like super easy. For what it does, it's a very cool piece of technology. Yeah, no, I understand why they want human beings in there, It's just some. Everyone tell me how large my cock is as I jack off in front of the entire room. Have been on meetings before that use AI note taker. Wish I could have not been on the meeting for an hour when I could have just reviewed the note taker. Management loves seeing our face stare blankly at them for an hour. Exactly. The analyst thinks vendors and users have not given enough consideration to how to build agentic systems that address those issues. This is a software engineering problem. You need people who understand you decompose systems when they communicate, the degree to which they communicate, the different autonomy levels you give within an agent. Software engineers also need to determine what information agents can perceive, what they can control, and what they can execute upon. It's not trivial. True. But you're the one who just wants to hand off. Like, this is the same dude who up here just wants to hand off the decision making and the execution to the AI and just do it, right? Like, don't ask me about it, just do it. So this guy is literally playing both sides of the argument. Brother knows that the current wave of AI hype is fueled in part by conflation of the terms AI agent and generative AI. Who's doing that? And use of fuzzy definitions of both. What up, humanity? He lamented that practice by sharing an aphorism attributed to French philosopher and author Albert Camus. Save me from corpos quoting philosophers. To misname things is to contribute to the world's miseries. Oh, la-di fucking die. I agree with the sentiment, but I am not a corpo. Oh. We got that out of the way. There's a futurism article coming up. So brace yourself. But in between now and then, we're going to get to some news. Tom's Hardware. Taiwan bans chip exports to Huawei SMIC. Ban comes after Huawei tricked TSMC into making 2 million AI processors despite U.S. restrictions. They tricked us. Okay. Sure. This is my believing face. Taiwan's International Trade Administration rubber stamped the decision to tighten controls. Two of the companies most important to China's semiconductor self-sufficiency and AI supremacy hopes were dealt a blow on Saturday when Taiwan added them to its strategic high-tech commodities entity list. They fooled them into it with money. Exactly, Rural. Huawei and SMIC have already been sanctioned by the U.S., but the constriction of supplies from the Silicon Island could prove very meaningful and impactful. This news also comes in the wake of Huawei using shell companies to deceive TSMC into manufacturing 2 million band advanced AI compute chiplets. Okay, so they did do some shenanigans. You know, the same kind of shenanigans a billion different US companies use, but they did trick them, right? They used shell companies. They were totally tricked. I'm sure that they're going to ask for their chips back and then give Huawei the money back, and no one will have been tricked. Fucking the move by and no shade here, the move by Taiwan's democratically elected government. Like, why would you put this in here? Why is this particular phrasing important? Why would you not just say the move by Taiwan's Commerce Ministry isn't particularly surprising? But instead, what up, Carla? The move by Taiwan's democratically elected government, specifically the Taiwan Commerce Ministry, isn't particularly surprising, given the ongoing trade war sparked by concerns over the weaponization of cutting edge technologies against Western allies, as opposed to the weaponizing of technologies against, I don't know, China. From now on, both Huawei and SMIC will need to obtain export permits from suppliers based in Taiwan to receive manufactured goods. Oh. And again, all states are bastards. I'm not a particular fan of China. I'm not a particular fan of Taiwan. And I'm not a particular fan of the United States. Governments. People, love them. Love the people. Love the Chinese people, love the Taiwanese people, unless they're also Chinese people, in which case I love the Chinese people. I love the American people. I love people. I think people are great. Governments can suck a fart out of my ass. As entries on Taiwan's blacklist, Huawei and SMIC are nestled among entities such as the Taliban and Al Qaeda, as well as a smorgasbord of other companies and organizations.
You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war.
You didn't get the thing, you got the live version only. Sorry, Ghost. Sorry. I forgot to turn the thing back on. Ghost in the Machine 69, Ghost underscore in underscore the underscore machine 69, 11 months. Stop moving the buttons. I appreciate you very much, homie. Jesus Christ. The propaganda continues. As entries on Taiwan's blacklist, blah, 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 Taiwan, blah, 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 Al Qaeda, as well as a smorgasbord, great word to use there, of other companies and organizations hailing from pariah nations like Iran, Russia, Afghanistan, and North Korea. I wonder why they're pariah nations. According to sources like Bloomberg and Taiwan's CNA, neither the newly blacklisted Chinese companies nor Taiwan's economy ministry has shared comments on the new list. How about some positive news? Training robots without robots. Smart glasses capture first-person task demos. Over the past few decades, robots have gradually started making their way into various real-world settings, including some malls, airports, and hospitals, as well as a few offices and households. Also, certain businesses. There's a couple of stores in my area that have a inventory bot. Right? I've talked about this before. It makes little bird noises as it moves up and down the aisle, right? And it's just happy. It's not happy. It has no opinion on what it's doing whatsoever. But it seems happy, right? Just doo-doo, dee-doo, right? Just moving down the aisle, and if something moves in front of it, it stops. It's like patient and like that. And I hope it's happy. I hope the robot is happy. One must imagine the Sisyphusian robot happy. That's Camus. Paraphrased. For robots to be deployed on a larger scale, serving as reliable everyday assistants, they should be able to complete a wide range of common manual tasks and chores, such as cleaning, washing the dishes, cooking, and doing the laundry. Training machine learning algorithms that allow robots to successfully complete these tasks can be challenging, as it often requires extensive annotated data and or demonstration videos showing humans the task. Showing humans the task? Humans doing the task, right? Devising more effective methods to collect data to train robotics algorithms could thus be highly advantageous, as it could help to further broaden the capabilities of robots. Researchers at NYU and UC Berkeley recently introduced Ego Zero, a new system to collect egocentric demonstrations of humans completing specific manual tasks. The system, introduced in a paper posted on the archive server, relies on the use of Project Aria glasses, the smart glasses for augmented reality developed by Meta. And this is another example. I've told you all this before. I have an app on my phone. Excuse me. It's Google Rewards, right? And what happens after certain events, right? Like if I go on Google and I use Google, it sends me a notification from the app to ask me a tiny little survey about that, right? If I have my Google Maps open and I go to certain locations, it will ask me, hey, did you go to any of these stores? And if so, it wants to know about like my experience going to that store, that kind of thing. If a company wanted to, they could have, does it have a public bathroom? I understood the reference, right? Well, the reward is anywhere between, I've gotten paid anywhere between 10 cents and $1. I currently have $13.44 in my Google Play balance. And I could use that, for anything on the Google Play Store or like I've used it to pay for the paid version of SoundCloud for a couple of months so that it didn't have commercials, that kind of stuff. I use it in games sometimes, especially like if I'm doing a game. Like we did the game. James did the poop clicker game, right? Sometimes there's um, a reward for the streamer if you pay money to do a thing, right? Like, pay $5, unlock that pack, and they get some amount of money. This is nice for that because, like, I didn't really do anything. You know what I mean? I just answered fucking questions, and I'm a streamer on the internet. I'm more than happy to fucking, answer questions, right? Like, I love giving my opinion. And so, like, it's great. It's like free money to toss it at situations like that. What up, Matt? The trick to Google rewards, if you are into that sort of thing, is to create an identity where you're a minority woman that's of birthing age, and in college your rewards are much higher. They might be. They might be. That could be true. Also, every week it sends me a little thing. I believe you. I believe you. It sends me a thing where I get some like Play Store reward points, right? It's a little scratch off game. Like it comes every Friday. The one time I actually won a mouse from Razer. Is a Razer Cobra mouse that I won off their little scratch off game. And it's a decent little mouse. It doesn't weigh enough. I'd like it if it was a little heavier, but for a free mouse, it's nice, right? Nice. So the point being is if either people who had Aria glasses or people could maybe get a discounted pair of Aria glasses, and they could exchange the. It does not. It's like their baseline cheapest. It's like $20 or $30, and it's not modifiable, but for a basic mouse, it's like perfect. Other than the fact that it's a little light, but you could incentivize people to provide you with the data in a similar way, right? Like imagine if you like had either had a set of the glasses or what have you, and it's like, you fold some shirts, right? You got to fold the shirts, and you do the folding of the shirts, and then you send the folding of the shirts data to Meta or fucking Ego Zero or whoever the fuck, and then they compensate you with some, money. It doesn't have to be a lot. You were doing that job anyways, but you are compensating people for the data, and it incentivizes them to generate more data, right? So people would get in the habit of doing the stuff that they normally do and then providing you with that data, and then they get compensated and everyone's happy, and you don't have to hear a lot of bullshit. To me, based on existing fucking technology, you know what I mean? Yeah, but CAPTCHA was like the only thing it did was stand between me and the website I wanted to get to. There's no compensation involved. It's almost a paywall, right? It's a really, really cheap paywall. We believe that general purpose robotics is bottlenecked by a lack of internet scale data, and that the best way to address this problem would be to collect and learn from first person human data. Sounds great. Do what I just told you. Yeah, Mechanical Turk. It's like I was gonna Mechanical Turk, but it just seems kind of, I don't know, man. Like you got to do a lot of work to get not a lot of money, right? And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for like a data generation job. What I'm looking for is like an exchange of data for compensation. You know what I mean? I've not tried Prolific Humanity. I have a friend who's really into it and makes bank from it, but you have to do it like a part-time job. Yeah. That's what I figured out, right? Like you have to do X amount of data within X amount of time period and etc. It's there. I don't necessarily. I'm sure that the compensation is like not what it could be, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, a couple $100 each week. That ain't bad. Right, and that's the key. He's built up his rep, and you have to stay with it, otherwise your rep falls off. The primary objectives of this project were to develop a way to collect accurate action labeled data for robot training, optimize for the ergonomics of the data collection wearables needed, and transfer human behaviors into robot policies with zero robot data. Ego Zero, the new system developed by Pinto and his colleagues, relies on Project Aria smart glasses to easily collect video demonstrations of humans completing tasks while performing robot executable actions, capture from the point of view of the person wearing the glasses. And that's what you would want, and that's what you could have. Either by giving people discounted glasses, right? Like if they sent me, I feel like, though, if they sent me a pair of glasses that were either free or discounted, then it would be like a job that I would be required to give them a certain amount of data each day or week, and then that could get messy. Eventually, you get flagged for university level studies and such, since you can prove you're a genuine individual. Yeah, I've done some interesting surveys. I could have made a few $100, but my son doesn't want to do surveys. And it required a parent-child team in order to do it. From YouGov, like a reliable. Is MTurk worth it for new users? It's an uphill grind, but yeah, like Old Lobster said, if you can get the rhythm and get to the point where you are, there, then yeah, like I feel the same way about Mechanical Turk as I do about what's that fucking game that everybody loves with the fucking tree and the knight on the horse and everybody dies a lot. Elden Ring. I feel a lot about YouGov is good for relatively casual users. You do want to try and respond to as many of the surveys as you can for the same reason, but it's usually only like 1 or 2 a day, right? So as long as you can work in 1 or 2 a day, takes you maybe 15-20 minutes. Yeah, but it takes a minute to build up enough. But I got $100 out of YouGov. So, but yeah, Elden Ring, right? Like I find Elden Ring an absolute grind. There is no. I did not enjoy my experience with Elden Ring at all. Yeah, no, that would make sense, Old Lobster. So I feel like it's that same kind of thing. If you're capable of putting in that grind time work, then you can make money off Mechanical Turk. So this is cool. I hope they start doing a similar thing to what we were just talking about. And we get better robots. In solar panel news, this is another example. We did an article a while back from Australia. This is an article from Iowa State University, or from Axios via Iowa State University. Solar panels may boost crop yields per ISU research. New research from Iowa State University suggests that vegetables can thrive under solar panels, with some even growing better than those in control plots with full sunlight. There's actually a lot of plants don't like actual full sun. Because if you read, like if you go and you get a plant that you're going to put in your yard, right, or whatever, or outside on your balcony or, wherever you live, it'll sometimes say full sun. And what a lot of people think is, okay, I just put it in the sun all day and it'll be fine. This is not, in fact, the case. It's looking for 6 hours or less is full sun, right? Now, some plants can survive in full sun. Obviously, grass does reasonably well, and clover. Clover has this ability to like fold its leaves down if it's getting overheated and shit. It's interesting stuff. Excuse me. I understand, old lobster, but I am not going up against the plant industry because those people are on one. So you want it as the sun moves, right? You want it to eventually get into some shade, right? And you could do 3 and 3 depending on how you set it up and like that. But it's important to take into consideration that full sun doesn't necessarily mean all day full sun. You're going to have to look at the native origin of the plant in order to get best outcomes. What up, Ribbons? Why it matters. The study could shape how Iowa balances farmland preservation with clean energy development as demand for solar expands. Had an interview yesterday and they let me use Cursor in my tech position. Was glad that they are so forward thinking with AI. Excellent. Text portion. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I hope that you get it if it's something you want to do. Which, since you're interviewing, I assume it is. ISU recently released the first-year data from a 4-year study on agrivoltaics, the dual use of land for agriculture and solar energy, at a 10-acre Alliant Energy solar site near Ames. Researchers are testing crop productivity, soil health, and ecosystem impacts beneath solar panels. What they found, the partial shade from panels appears to benefit vegetables that are sensitive to heat and drought, which would make sense. One thing we've for sure found out is that we can grow vegetables on a commercial scale on a solar farm. Period. It's too early to tell if some crops like strawberries and grapes produce more because those types of plant don't typically produce full crops in their first year. Yes. Okay. So this is one of the things. If you've ever grown certain berries, raspberries, grapes, that kind of thing, there's a cycle. The first year they grow, and then the second year they produce. And then in the third year, often that vine or whatever dies. And this is why the raspberries, for instance, produce a bramble, which is a collection of this dead, the dead tentacles of the fucking raspberries, right? But it's a multi-year process, so we'll have to see on the grapes. But the researcher is expanding this year with new crops like tomatoes, intensified pest management trials, and additional pollinator habitats to support on-site beehives. Nice. Researchers are also exploring ways to optimize yields across seasons and improve economic viability for farmers. Right? Because this is one of the conflicts, is that people were, especially there, certain locations were like, no, you can't replace the farmland with the solar panels, even though these farmers were being offered compensation. We live under capitalism, etc. So this is a mix, right? Like, this is a benefit to everyone involved if it works. And I would believe that it would, based on what I know and the data that has come back both from Australia and from this study. All right, enough good news. Let's get back to futurism. Top AI researchers meet to discuss what comes after humanity. AGI is likely to end humanity. Because we're all going to die. And we don't know when. A group of top minds in AI gathered over the weekend to discuss the post-human transition, a mind-bending exercise in imagining a future in which humanity willfully hands over power, or perhaps bequeaths existence entirely to some sort of superhuman intelligence. As Wired reports, the lavish party was organized by generative AI entrepreneur Daniel Fagella. Fagella? No one has proven yet that I specifically will die. I'm with you. I'm with you. I plan on living forever, and it's worked so far. Attendees included AI founders from $100 million to $5 billion valuations, and most of the important philosophical thinkers on AGI. Fagella enthused in a LinkedIn post. I'm pressing X to doubt. Are there? Can we get a list of names? Let's see what we get from Wired. Okay, not behind a paywall. There it is. Which is worse, the immediate paywall or the couple second later paywall, in your opinion? Would you prefer to be hit with the paywall right when you get to the website, or when it suckers you in to reading? You think the immediate paywall is worse? It's it's entirely subjective. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion here. Give me a list of names. I don't care. I'm not actually reading the article. There's 100 guests. About 100 guests nursed non-alcoholic cocktails and nibbled on cheese plates near floor-to-ceiling windows facing the Pacific Ocean before gathering to hear 3 talks on the future of intelligence. So who was here? The first speaker, Genevera Davis, a writer based in New York, warned that human values might be impossible to translate to AI. Great. Who else was here? By the second talk, the room was fully engaged. A philosopher named Michael Edward Johnson took the mic and argued we all have an intuition that radical technological change is imminent, but we lack a principled framework for dealing with the shift, especially as it relates to human values. Fair enough. I would agree. He added that if consciousness is the home of value, now different people use the term value in different ways, then building AI without fully understanding consciousness is a dangerous gamble. This is the assumption that AI either needs to be conscious or will become conscious through the process of creating it. We risk either enslaving something that can suffer, which is bad, or trusting something that can't. I mean, my car can't suffer, I hope. and I kind of trust it. This idea relies on a similar premise to machine consciousness and is also hotly debated. Of course it is. Finally, Fagella took the stage. He believes humanity won't last forever in its current form and that we have a responsibility to design a successor, not just one that survives, but one that can create new kinds of meaning and value. He pointed to two traits this successor must have: consciousness and autopoiesis. Love finding no word. Describes the self-maintaining and self-producing nature of living systems. Yeah, but how do I say it? Tell me, Emma.
Autopoiesis.
I got it right. Autopoiesis. I should have asked perplexity. What an Automon. I hate the you read a line or two paywall more. It didn't like that you said I hate the you, Big Ben. that's what got flagged. The AI thought you were talking shit. Citing philosophers like Baruch Spinoza and Friedrich Nietzsche, what up, Iggy? He argued that most value in the universe is still undiscovered and that our job is not to cling to the old, but build something capable of uncovering what comes next. So I believe that he's talking about value in the broad sense, not value as it relates to money. This is where the AI lets us down. We can't ask a simple question and it thinks out how to answer. You sound like this guy. No, that's not that guy. This guy. No, that's not that guy. Where's the guy? This guy. The register. You sound like Eric Bretheno, right? AI is not doing its job today and should leave us alone. Where'd my article go? This is why I have this thing on the side. It's good if your tabs extend beyond a reasonable limit. So yeah, so 100 people showed up to this thing, this event, drank non-alcoholic cocktails and ate cheese and listened to 3 people talk. None of the people who showed up are mentioned other than the 3 speakers. So I'm going... Yeah, well, that's the point. If they were anyone of actual note, they would have been mentioned in the article, right? If like Elon Musk had shown up to this fucking thing, they would have put Elon's name in here for SEO, right? Like the way that the SEO and the way that, you know, the internet works, they're going to push out, you know, whoever is going to get them the biggest tag, right? Because they drop names in here, right? Like somebody had a shirt that said Kurzweil was right, seemingly a reference to Ray Kurzweil. Fagella told Wired, etc., tech leaders Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and Demis Hassabis, right? Like this is the inclusion in the article in order to, like, you know, hit those search engine optimizations, right? That's why they're in here. The speakers are nobody I've ever heard of, and it looks like it was done in somebody's living room, right? They just put a projector up on somebody's on the wall. Philosopher Michael Edward Johnson, right? Here's his PowerPoint on the wall. So it was just done in somebody's house with 100, I mean, shit, I can't imagine trying to fit 100 people in my house. So yeah. I don't know. What I'm saying is it doesn't sound like it's that big a deal. Right here. He organized the soiree at a $30 million mansion in San Francisco because the big labs, the people that know AGI is likely to end humanity, don't talk about it because the incentives don't permit it. So these are a certain type of person who showed up to this event. The symposium allowed attendees and speakers alike to steep themselves in a largely fantastical vision of a future where artificial intelligence was a given, rather than some distant dream of tech that isn't even close to existing. I mean, there were 250 people at my wedding, but we had it outside under a tent, right? At my friend's house. My friend has some more country style property, and we did that. And it was like, it was my friends, obviously. It was her friends, obviously. It was family. And then it was people we worked with and like that. And our therapist, which was neat. She had never been invited to a wedding for one of her clients before. It's good to have a therapist if you can get one. The risks of racing towards superhuman intelligence have remained hotly debated, with billionaire Elon Musk, an all-around K-hole idiot, once arguing that unregulated AI could be the biggest risk we face as a civilization. And then he proceeded to build a maximally truth-seeking mini crime bunnies AI, which is basically unregulated, to prove the point, I guess. OpenAI's Sam Altman has also warned of dangers facing humanity, including increased inequality and population control through mass surveillance as a result of realizing AGI, which also happens to be his firm's number one priority. Also, the current administration and the relationship with Palantir. Also, the relationship with Oracle. That dude just came right out and said it, that it'll be a better world if we were under surveillance all the time, because then the cops wouldn't hurt people and people would behave themselves. That dude's cool. But for now, those are largely moot points made by individuals who are billions of dollars deep in reassuring investors that AGI is mere years away. Population control is in controlling the population, Ivan, not like controlling the amount of population. What are you talking about, Doc? The body cams were going to solve everything. How? Like, just body clams? Body clams actually might solve everything. But like, this is designed to make sure that everything is copacetic, and we're going to give you the ability to turn it on and off. Cool. Can't see a flaw in that logic. Given the current state of wildly hallucinating large language models that still fail at the most basic tasks, which most basic tasks are you referring to? Because they appear to do a lot of, we're referencing the goddamn Apple paper. Do you understand now, people, why we watched 3 different videos debunking the quality of the Apple paper? Because like everything else, people are going to reference the shit out of it in spite of the fact that it do not do what they think it do. We are... Also, I would challenge, because one of the things that it failed at was a eight um eight tier an 8 tier version of the Hanoi Tower problem, right? Like this game, but with 8. This is 5, right? So add 3 more levels to this and then give it to the people at Futurism, and you're not allowed to reference the paper unless you can pass the 8 tier Hanoi Tower problem. That's my benchmark. You are no longer, I hear ye, as the Lord of AI on Twitch and the representative of the AI overlords. I decree on this day, the year of our Lord, 6/17/2025 at 12:02 p.m. Eastern Time, that if you wish to reference the AI paper from Apple about how AI cannot reason, then you must pass the 8-tier Hanoi Tower test. People don't know shit about shit, dog. And if you want to know, like, if I don't think you were here when we watch it, the AI Explained YouTube channel, I don't know why I'm telling you. This is my job. It is my job to distribute the information. 14 minutes. Give it a watch. Anybody else, if you like, it is the best debunk and breakdown of why the Apple paper is a complete waste of fucking time. Just last week, researchers at Apple released there it is, a damning paper that threw cold water on the reasoning capabilities in Crime Bunnies of the latest and most powerful LLMs, arguing they face a complete accuracy collapse beyond certain complexities. And again, you, writer and referencer of the paper, are required to do the fucking 8-tier Hanoi Tower. If you can. What up, Froggy? So I noticed GPT-4o is worse at math than DeepSeek, but GPT 4.5 is about the same as DeepSeek. Yeah. Math, surprising. I had the same experience with, when I was looking at the early days of AI music generation, because music is basically math, right? Like fundamentally it's math. I expected the AI to be good at music, and it was not. And that kind of threw me. And so the fact that it wasn't necessarily good at math over time, and it is getting better, also kind of threw me. But also, Froggy, that video, I don't know if you were here when I dropped this, I'll drop it again. I'm sorry, the link is right above you. That link, AI Explained has their own benchmarks, and the benchmarks that they use are their logic story problems. But it does provide like a similar conceptual outlook. And the current best one is Gemini Pro 2.5 or Gemini 2.5 Pro, whatever naming convention they want to go with. This is what I think it is. I'm shipping it right now. I hear ye, as the Lord of AI on Twitch and the representative of the AI overlords. I decree on this day, the year of our Lord, 6/17/2025 at 12:02 p.m. Eastern Time that if you wish to reference the AI paper from Apple about how AI cannot reason, then you must pass the 8-tier Hanoi Tower test. I so proclaimed and so posted. I hear ye hear. Stop talking, old man. And featured. Thank you, Old Lobster. That is a hill I'm going to die on because I'm tired of fucking hearing about it. However, to insiders and believers in the tech, AGI is mostly a matter of when, not if. Speakers at this weekend's event talked about how AI can seek out deeper, universal values that humanity hasn't even been privy to, and that machines should be taught to pursue the good or risk enslaving an entity capable of suffering. So, where in this article did they say AGI is likely to end humanity? One of two matches. Okay, so there is another one. Where's the next one? Oh, the dipshit, Daniel Fagella. He organized a soiree at a $30 million mansion in San Francisco because the big labs, the people that know AGI is likely to end humanity, don't talk about it because the incentives don't permit it. I did read that. It doesn't, it's different than this quote, though it's technically correct because he did say it, so you can get around that function. As a duly designated representative of the city, county, and state of New York, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to the place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension. True. So, yeah. Futurism, as usual, full of shit. New robots make AI something anyone can try at home. Hugging Face unveils 2 open source humanoid robots, Hope Jr. and Richie Mini. It's Cyber Guy. Cyber Guy's back. And if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. That's what I learned. That was a loud fucking thing. Hugging Face, a well-known name in AI development, is making big moves in the world of robotics. The company just introduced 2 open-source humanoid robots, Hope Jr. and Richie Mini, designed to make advanced robotics more accessible to everyone, from researchers and developers to students and hobbyists. So this is Hope Jr. Is this article written by Cyber Guy? It is. Kurt Knudsen, Cyber Guy report for Fox News. Come on, Twitch. The whole reason I have alerts is so humor can happen. And humor is about timing. Humor is about timing.
Everything is going extremely well.
That worked. Doing crime didn't. Speaking of the future of humanity, did you see that CRISPR was used to edit out extra chromosomes, meaning we have a possible method to prevent Down syndrome? Interesting. I did not see that. That there's a whole bunch of ethical questions, right? Like, anytime you get close to anything that sounds remotely like something adjacent to, you know, I'm sorry, not euthanasia. You know the word. Eugenics. Thank you. Anytime you get anywhere remotely near that subject, it's you gotta be like, so there's the thing, Minute, is with me and my friends, the joke is that we store information in each other's brains. Because I will be talking and I will have that same kind of brain fart moment and look at that person and then answer it. And like, just like that, right? The word. And then I will say thank you because they allowed me to store that information in their brain. And I've infected all of you with that same virus. So I am storing information in all your brains. I'm sorry or congratulations. Delete whichever is inappropriate. And, you know, welcome to the collective. The idea of doing like genetic editing and stuff like that brings in a lot of ethical questions for people who are who have these, I don't want to say conditions, but you know what I mean, right? Like there are people who are like their self-worth and their reflected worth in society are affected by these. Apparently you, Minute, because as soon as I said eugenics and thank you, you hit enter and it ended up in the chat. So now you know. There are memories stored in genes, like how if you take a bird and isolate it, it will sing the same songs as a bird. Yeah, the instinctual issue, and that's a whole other level of complexity, right? Like they did a thing a while back where they took, they edited the genes of fruit flies, and it was a gene for like eye color or something. They edited a gene that, as far as they know, had nothing to do with nothing other than this other thing, and the behavior caused them fruit fly edited genes. What would you call it? That's right, it just changes behavior. The Cosmic is right, I should be using. I was hoping it'd be easy, and it's not easy. But basically, what ended up happening, maybe if I say follow the leader, they ended up starting to, like, they moved in trains, right? They would walk in trains like ants do, as opposed to, being individuals. And it was interesting, right? Like, but this is one of those things where, like, if you edit stuff, sometimes it does multiple things. You know what I mean? It's almost as if lines of genetic code can serve more than one expression. Exactly, that kind of thing. It's something to pay attention to. right? So you have these multiple ethical concerns when it comes to editing genes, right? And they do, joint specialists. That's the other thing. Anyways, yeah, Hugging Face released a robot, open source, 2 robots. California No Robo Bosses Act. Taking aim at artificial intelligence in the workplace. This is from Mercury News. One company. Absolutely. One company offers Bay Area employers artificial intelligence that filters potential hires by combing through 10,000 public online sources looking for references to violence or illegal drugs. I wonder if there's anything that could go on that could result in you not being able to get a job because interactions between certain parties occurred. I didn't even plan that. Another uses the technology to scan workers' office emails for signs of dissatisfaction or burnout. Others offer AI analysis of workers' every online action in the workplace. As artificial intelligence gives new powerful tools to employers seeking to streamline hiring and monitor workers, a bill is advancing through the California legislature to address fears that the technology could unfairly deny workers jobs and promotions or lead to punishment and firing. The No Robo Bosses Act, Senate Bill 7, seeks to impose human decision making over certain workplace automation technology. Fine, right? It is like, sure. I would prefer a responsibility, right? And the responsibility, put it on the fucking CEO. Where the CEO personally violated, if it turns out that the use of an AI tool discriminated against somebody, then the CEO is held responsible, and any fines, penalties, what have you, are their fault. Put it on them. I bet you'd see people getting their shit together real quick. When it comes to people's lives and their careers, you don't want these automated decision-making systems to operate without any oversight. If passed, SB 7 would bar employers from relying primarily. And see, this is why the language, it's bullshit. I didn't rely primarily on an automated decision-making software for promotion, discipline, or firing. I took it on advisement, but I primarily made the decision. Sure you did. I believe you. Why wouldn't I believe you? Any automated decision would need to be reviewed by a person who must investigate and compile corroborating or supporting information for the decision. Sure. That's what's going to happen. The bill, which heads to the state assembly's Labor and Employment Committee on June 25th, would also ban employers' use of products that aim to predict workers' behaviors, beliefs, intentions, personality, psychological or emotional states, or other characteristics. Yes, don't take my exasperation as being against this. But human beings do this, right? Have you ever had a job in which the boss or your manager or what have you called you into the office and said, "Hey, you're not real enthusiastic out there. What's going on? We need you to have a certain level of enthusiasm, right?" So it's ultimately performative to me. McNerney's office in March issued a news release with a link to a list of companies purportedly selling Bossware, workplace management technology. Some of the businesses offer products that could violate provisions of the bill, particularly a ban on software that infers workers' mental states. What up, Grix? Yeah, if your pep talk comes with, I don't know, free food, maybe a couple bucks, I'll probably be a little like, for all the bullshit about the pizza party, I do like pizza, right? So I do have some enthusiasm for the pizza. Oh, dude. Back when I worked at the debt collector place, I made bonus, and for my bonus, I did a pizza party for the office. It fucking threw management for a fucking loop, dude. They didn't know what to do. The idea that I didn't just take the money and run, right? Like the idea that I would give back to my fellow employees at a particular place. They had no idea what to do with me. I loved it so. And I was good at my job, but I was polite, and it was customer service to me. I never gave people a hard time, any of that shit. It was all about, hey, like, it looks like you fell off on this thing. Can we get you back on track, kind of thing? Because a lot of the work that I did was medical debt, and it was like, I understand you got $1,000 bill, and you can't afford $1,000. I got that. Can you afford $100 a month for the next 10 months? And they were like, yeah, I can do that. And it's like, all right, let's get that set up, right? Because the doctors wanted the clients to keep coming back and everything else. And there's a way that you can handle that shit, right? Like, of helping people out. And I was good at it, right? I was good at doing customer service and helping people figure out different problem-solving solutions. You know what I mean? Just most people, they see $1,000 bill. If you threw $1,000 bill at me, I would be like, what the fuck? Right? I can't pay $1,000. I can figure out a way to do it $100 a month for the next 10 months. Right? But nobody had ever offered that to them before. What about $4 a month for a lot of months? Let me tell you, Froggy. One of the ones I did when I was still working like credit card debt, there was this guy who was like adamantly against paying off his debt. And he had gone round and round with people in the office before. And I got him on the phone, and I'm talking to him. And, like, we're going back and forth. He's like, I don't want to pay this, right? I don't think I owe it. I don't give a shit, and I don't want to pay it. And I was like, make me an offer. Make me any offer, and I'll see what I can do, right? Like, no more phone calls, no more bullshit. You're done with this. Make me an offer. And he goes, $1. And I said, hold on 1 second. I'll see what I can do. And it was the fact that I said maybe, right? I said possibly, that kept him on the phone while I transferred. There's a thing that you do in debt collection called the second voice, right? Where one person sets up it's usually when it's come to a settlement, One person sets up the situation, and then you pass it to another person who may or may not be a manager, right? To negotiate the deal. And by the end of it, he settled out the debt, not for $1, but he did settle it for like probably what he initially owed before all the fees and other horseshit gets added on. You know what I mean? It's not for everyone, right? Like, I'm not saying anyone should negotiate with debt collectors, because a lot of debt collectors are human garbage and some of the worst people on the planet. But there are, you might be able to, like, resolve debts for a less of a thing. When Twitch, yeah. But yeah, no, Froggy, it's actually like there were people who were doing like $10 a month because that's all they could afford, right? Freeze the interest, no further
My
whatever.
circuitry's 12 years out of date. I can't keep up with today's high-speed, top-of-the-line kids.
That's it. You got me, Ben. You got me, Ben. Thank you for gifting one out to Froggy. Just had to leave a CT scan in the ER.
I don't know who I am
visit.
anymore. I'm getting
Luckily,
too
I had-
much
yeah,
money.
Yeah, no, that's. I told y'all, my one friend has cancer, right? He's got fucking lung cancer and shit. And he, like, he's seen the numbers, right? Like, you could buy a house, a nice house, right, for what it's costing him for like some of his treatments. But he's a veteran, so he gets the VA and all that other horseshit. So like, but yeah, like, fuck, dude. Thank you, Larry. What up, Larry? Thank you for the biddies. Oh, but that's gonna be it. I ran out of time telling you stories. I hope you enjoyed the stories that weren't necessarily about the thing. Please stick around for the raid. Let's get you somewhere nice. Healthcare plan is to die. That is an option. If I ever found myself, I've talked about this before. If I ever found myself terminally ill, right? Like, terminally ill. It's a bunch of mushrooms and the long walk. And, like that, Inuit style, go out on the ice raft. What up, me? I'm glad. I'm glad y'all, those of you who enjoy listening to me, enjoy listening to me. I mean, like, if that's an option later on, then sure, right? But if we get to the point and they still can't do that kind of, like, I'm definitely not getting frozen, because they're just like, you're just mush. Right, exactly, Ivan. Like, unless we've solved a bunch of problems, I'll just take the log walk. I'm gonna raid you over to the Chaos Queen herself. It seems not a whole lot of chaos at the moment. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. and we'll do this all again. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, which is already in progress. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat your food, take your meds if you've forgotten. Always remember that Shaggy loves you, and so do I. Be great.